Welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Ricardo A. Black, president of the Big Apple Autism Services. He'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Mr. Ricardo A. Black, president of Big Apple Autism Services. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's really awesome to be here, Lydia. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. We have to be masked up. We have to protect each other because guess what? It is perilous times that we're living in.
It is. It is.
But we keep going. We're not going to let it beat us. So thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Great. So before I go into Big Apple, I always like to, my intro question is always, who is the person? So who is Ricardo Black? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I like to start from where I came from St. Vincent in the Grenadines, and came to New York in 1983, and attended high school at Erasmus. Went to Walt Whitman Junior High School, went to New York University, then went to Ashford University, have an MBA, and also pretty much do everything that has to do with communication. I've spent about 15 years working in the communication industry and marketing, doing all the products that we're hearing about today with the big pharmaceutical companies. And I also am a publisher. I'm an author. I have about 8 books on the market right now, but I also help to publish people. And just, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, one of my current friends, a very good friend of mine, invited me, not knowing where it was going to lead, invited me to do some marketing for them as they were launching a company. And it turned out that it was one of the best decisions that we both made, because after I went to see this person and we started this road together, I fell in love with the actual idea of what this person was about and what they stood for and what the company was about. And I'm talking about Big Apple Autism Services.
Absolutely. And it's absolutely phenomenal. Everyone at home, you're going to have the opportunity to really get a deep dive on this. So let's take a step back for those who may not even be aware. What is Big Apple Autism Services?
Big Apple Autism Services is a company that operates in the early intervention industry as well as applied behavior analysis, known as ABA. We do this under insurance. And essentially what we do is we provide therapeutic services for children who may have developmental delays. For example, a parent may have a baby who, let's just say 1-year-old, not babbling, not paying attention, not giving you eye contact. Maybe at 2 years old, they're not speaking the way other 2-year-olds would. They don't have language, they don't have words, and they may be behaving in a certain way that is totally different from other children who are typically developing correctly. So the parents may have all kind of concerns. And depending on the culture of the family, some of them may understand what they're dealing with, and they'll talk to their pediatrician and say, hey, I have these concerns, what can we do? Can we get them evaluated to make sure? And there are some other families, if they're not aware, they may actually inadvertently abuse that child, thinking that the child is being stubborn or rebellious. We're dealing with developmental delays. So Big Apple Autism Services is that company that decided, through the auspices of Ms. Gabriel, to actually make a big difference. There are 158 companies in New York City alone that provide similar services.
Okay.
But none of them provide services the way Big Apple Children's Services do.
So what is that key difference? Because yes, there are a ton of services. We're in the most cosmopolitan city, one of the biggest ones, absolutely. And there are children on the spectrum here, so that's goes without saying. But what sets Big Apple apart?
One of the things that set Big Apple apart is the fact that it all comes right back to Ms. Gabriel again. As the CEO and founder of this company, Ms. Gabriel actually is a Haitian immigrant who really, I would call a self-made person, who through tremendous adversity was able to educate herself, took herself to Hunter College, Baruch College, got herself a master's in education. Then she became a behavioral therapist, a licensed behavioral therapist. You look her up, she's going to be one of the top 10 in the entire country. We have her in our entire community right here.
Wow.
But not only that, as an intern working through this health homes industry, she saw firsthand how individuals of different cultural backgrounds were treated. And let's be honest, not everyone gets the same treatment depending on the color of their skin. And Ms. Gabriel noticed
Or even
that
how they sound.
even how they sound. And that's a problem, especially if as a person who went to school to give back to the community, to help these people, these families, to understand how to help their children develop properly. When she see how these families are being treated by some of these individuals that's delivering services, she realized, you know what? The people in my community aren't
Very
getting
underserved.
they're getting the short end of the stick. In fact, some of them aren't even getting the stick. So she
Absolutely.
decided, instead of being one of these people who actually say, I'm going to just fold my arms and hold my breath, I'm going to do something about it. And what she did was she opened her bank account. She essentially emptied it out. She literally invested every single penny she had of her own money. Did not take any loans from any company. Did not go asking families and friends to lend them money. She did this 100% on her own. This is a person who believe in what they believe in.
Absolutely. It's
And-
putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. And she did this. And as a result of doing that, when you really get to understand what this is about and seeing, even in your own family members, even in the person across the hall, you may even see the children going down the mall. And I've seen families with this thing called a monkey on the back where they have it like a leash and they
Yes.
pull it. All these things are nice for commercial use, but it's not exactly correct way to treat a child if you don't understand why they're behaving the way they behave. And so Ms. Gabriel took this personally, and she decided to do something about it. And so Big Apple Autism Services was founded by a woman from Haiti who had all of the things in life essentially unavailable to her until she worked to get it. She took advantage of the education system in America. She showed up. She did her straight A's. She studied. She burned the midnight oil. She did the relationships. She put in her time. And when it was time come, she decided to start Big Apple Autism Services with a handful of really dedicated people. No one knew where this was going, but everybody knew that people of all nationalities needed help.
Absolutely. So your role as president, when you came in, what was your role?
When I came in, my role was marketing officer. I was CEO of my own company, and I still have my own company. But I'm not here to talk about that company today. But when I came in, Ms. Gabriel said, Ricardo, you're helping us to brand ourselves. You help us to put our mission together. We developed a logo together, our branding colors. We decided to create a really beautiful atmosphere and a
Yes.
cultural identity. But then she said, I want you to be the president. I want you to be the CEO. And I said, no, I can't take this from you. You can't give that to anybody because that's something that no one should ever be able to say that I'm CEO of your company. As a African American woman, a Caribbean woman, a Haitian woman, you're representing a class of people who simply has had to fight under a glass ceiling for too long.
Yes.
And another man from that region of the world, we're living under certain similar circumstances, is absolutely not going to be the one to hold you back.
Absolutely.
So instead I said, I want you to stand on my shoulder. And we decided to remove the glass.
Well, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Ricardo, she decided instead of having you be the CEO, well, she wanted you to be the CEO, but you did not want to take that leadership role in that sense because as a Caribbean woman and you're a Caribbean man, you just felt more compelled. Why can't we collaborate together?
Yeah, we not only collaborate together, but I mean, I know that there's a stigma. I mean, we're going to deal with stigmas today, right? One of the biggest stigmas that I know of in the Caribbean community is men typically don't like to follow women.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a situation where a man is following a woman. It's about, this is your dream. I'm aligning with your dream. You can use my help to achieve your dream. There's more than enough people out there who need this help, so the more the merrier. But I'm not coming here to do any arm wrestling with you. No one is ever going to ever have a question as to who owns this company, whose idea was this. I'm here to support her dream. And that's what I am. I play a supporting role because someone has to. And I believe that I'm the right person simply because I understand where she's coming from, and she's given me an opportunity to play an important role from the inception. And therefore, my goal is very, very specific. I'm here to make sure that Big Apple Autism Services is the #1 premier early intervention company in the country.
And with your background, you're able to, so you're tying in your background and that passion together.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect mixture. And the bottom line is the children of New York City and Long Island are going to benefit from whatever we could bring to the table. That's, at the end of the day, what we want. At the end of the day, when we get on a show like this to talk about what we do, that's as much publicity as we really want. Because the leadership of Big Apple fades through the back.
Mm-hmm.
And let the actual superheroes that serve the child on a daily basis come on the forth.
I love that.
You know, the children is why we're here.
So talk about the services for the children, because Big Apple has a magnitude of services. So I really want to highlight some of those at home.
Okay, so first and foremost, the #1 most important service that we offer is evaluation services. Because a child has to be evaluated before they can be determined whether they need developmental services or not. And if they are 0 to 3 years old, New York State's early intervention services will actually pay for all of the costs of anything that child needs as long as they're 0 to 3. So it means that if you're a parent listening to me right now and you have a child between 0 and 3 and they may have speech delay, they may have behavioral problems, they may not be eating correctly, they may not have social skills or communication skills. There's a host of issues that they may have, and you may be in denial. I'm going to say to you, what you're feeling as a parent is real, but get the actual professionals to give you their real diagnosis. It may be that the child has need for help, or they may not. And some of the help that they may get from us would be applied behavior analysis services, known as ABA, essentially behavior therapy. It may be special instruction to actually have a teacher come into their home or through telehealth to give them instruction, who has the most patients you will ever seen. It's the exact opposite of being in a classroom with 30 people. Instead, you have a home, undivided attention of a therapist for an hour up to 4 hours a day. Okay? And then there may be social work, or it may be speech therapy, or even occupational therapy, physical therapy, or even psychological therapy. All of these things come together for the children who need those services based on the results of what we call a multidisciplinary evaluation. And all those things I just mentioned today are all the different disciplines that may be coming together to help a child become more functional. And none of it comes out of the pocket of the parent, as long as that child is receiving those services from birth to 3 years old.
That's a big key takeaway, because a lot of parents, a lot of times, I mean, autism hits all levels, but it's even harder when you are in a low-income community.
And, you know, Lydia, another thing that people, that we've come across a lot, struggle with is the stigma. And I'm going to call it let's just say the Loch Ness Monster of developmental services. Some people believe in Bigfoot, some people believe in Godzilla and, you know, the fairy tale animals out there, or maybe the tooth fairy. Well, in the world of EI, a lot of people believe in the stigma of, what if my child gets a record, and what are the neighbors going to say? What are these people going to say? Let me talk to the parents right now directly, okay? In early intervention, the rules are so strict They're so high. HIPAA guidelines must be followed. A child between 0 and 3 years old cannot be left out in the open under any circumstances. We fire people just last week simply because they exposed information, and that wasn't about a child, that was another employee. We fired that person because we take this so seriously. So therefore, any child who gets services for early intervention is going to have zero information following them around. There's no record. That's one of the hallmarks of the early intervention platform. I mean, we need to make sure we drive this message home because it's one of the key reasons why many people in different cultures stay away.
Right, because they're scared when they start putting their children in school that's somehow going to follow them and be like, oh, this is a problem child.
No, the only thing that follow children is whatever you put them, whatever you put into your child, whatever morals and character traits and ethical standards you put into your child, they will become that on a larger level and in the rest of their life, and that's what they're going to display to the world, whatever the parent put into them, and that's going to follow them for the rest of their life, not what a therapist will do for a couple hours a day, because the whole point of this is to help a child to learn how to say a word, or how to balance on one leg, or how to take the stairs properly, or how to line up some blocks properly, or just get the confidence to be able to be around people and not feel like moving off into the corner because they don't know how to operate around other people. These things we take for granted, but they are actually things that can be corrected. And the earlier you have your child evaluated, Big Apple Autism Services has everything you need. We have our information right here. If you want to go and get an evaluation, just call us. Visit us online at bigapplechildren.com. and you'll be able to get to refer a child. We have a blue button. Just push the blue button, fill out the form, and you'll have one of our people help you with the information. But just get a referral. Every parent should get their child referred to evaluation, no matter what they think they might be having on their hands. Every child.
So you think every child should be checked regardless?
Lydia, repeat after me. Every child.
Every child.
In every household.
In every household.
No matter what your culture.
No matter what your culture.
Your child deserves the services that the government has given them through your own taxes. You're paying for these services. And even if your child may not have any delays, how many families out there have said, I wish I could afford a tutor to come in and tutor my child? Well, guess what a teacher is? A teacher could be considered a teacher. A teacher is a teacher. So therefore, what you want to do is make sure you take advantage of every opportunity to get the services that you deserve, but don't make any decisions on your own. Talk to your pediatrician.
Okay, hold that thought. We are going to come right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So Ricardo, I want you to just kind of walk us through the evaluation process. High level overview for those at home who might be a little bit worried. Let's say they do decide to bring their child in, they want to get an evaluation. What is the evaluation process? What does that consist of?
The evaluation process is a hands-off, attention-focused opportunity for a therapist, whether it's a speech therapist or a behavioral therapist or a teacher or psychologist. That individual who's trained to actually recognize certain key attributes in a child at a certain age, all they need to do is be able to see the child. And because of COVID, because I know, lady, you're going to ask me how has COVID affected us. Because of COVID, we are still able to make sure that every family get uninterrupted services, including an evaluation, which is typically done in the home or at a daycare or at any other center. But in this case, we have to get the form filled out first so we know who we have to contact. We talk to the Early Intervention Bureau. They create a record that we could then begin to submit information to. And then we put together a team. The team contacts the family makes a schedule, and the schedule, maybe a Zoom meeting is scheduled, And as long as they can hold a phone or an iPad, then everyone can see each other and hear each other. The child does not need to be restrained. They don't need to be held in a high seat. As long as that child could operate freely, happily in their natural environment, and that therapist can see the child and the child can see and hear the therapist, the evaluation will take place just as it would in person.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So usually it's almost pain-free. It's like just so simple. Go ahead and do the evaluation, because like you said, these are free services that, if you have questions or concerns, these are things that people need to have addressed.
It's like, the other thing I wanted to mention is that once the evaluation is done, the team puts together a report, and then one member of the team put a summary together. It's sent out to early intervention. They review it with their own team of experts, and they make a determination based on the findings of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And if the findings of the team is that this child need certain services, then EI is going to approve the services, and then that agency, let's say it's Big Apple Autism Services, is going to be asked to provide these services. And we have a catalog of professionals who work with us, and we always need more, because there's always another child that need more. And in these times, with people getting locked down and family members spending more time together who has not done so in a while, creates more stress for people than you would never imagine.
Yeah.
And more families need more services, so therefore we need more professionals to join the team. But beyond that, everything is done either in person if it's safe for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
or electronically. And if I could say, the records show, the studies show, that teletherapy, which is providing services electronically with a video and audio, has been shown to be much more efficacious than an in-person service. And I'm going to tell you why, because I know you're thinking, why is that? Well, think about a family who has parents and a child, and the parents spend most of their time with the child.
Mm-hmm.
The therapist may only have a few hours at a time with that child. So what the early intervention do is develop a system where the therapist comes in, they observe, they ask questions, and then they deliver services based on what their observations are. They make notes, and before they leave, they talk with the mother or the father or the caregiver, and they say, let's talk about what you would like
Yeah.
to see your child improve on while I'm actually leaving for the day. So by the time I come back the next day, you could give me an update, and then we'll work on your goals. So EI is all about the parents and the family. The therapists don't drive the process. The families have to drive the process, because the mom and the dad, they know their child more than anyone else.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
So as a result of that, early intervention is designed to work around the parents 100%. The family comes first, and we are there to support the services for that family. Therefore, when the family is alone with the child, the therapist essentially support them with strategies, teaching the parents how to help a child who may have some behavioral issues, how not to give in to their tantrums and redirect their behavior, so that the services could then actually show progress from one day to the next. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And this is what early intervention is. So when you have a child who may be in need of certain services, and you do this once a week or twice a week or 5 times a week over the course of a year, 2 years, by the time they hit their 3-year birthday, most people will never be able to put that child next to another child and be able to say this one needed help, because they will look and act and function just the way they should at that age, because their family embraced their responsibility to be right there front and center with the child and the therapist as a family unit.
That's so important. How do people at home get in contact with you? One more time, I want you to be able to let everyone know how to get in contact with you.
The best way, website. You go to www.bigapplechildren.com. There's a big blue button at the top of the page. It says refer a child. You click that button, you'll see a form. Fill out the form, hit the submit button, and in a couple hours or a day or so, one of our awesome people will call you. They will listen to you. They will understand the best way they can to help your child get services as fast as possible. If that doesn't work for you, you can also email us at BACS info at bigapplechildren.com, or you could also take our our form, our referral form that is available on the same website, bigapplechildren.com. You could download it, fill it out, and there's a number on the bottom of the form that could fax it back to us. The fax number is 929-900-1522. And this is how you get in touch with us. Any one of our people at the office is always ready to help a family, because guess what?
Why?
Most of the people who work in early intervention know someone who actually is affected,
Yes.
who they wished had heard of early intervention when they were earlier in their lifespan. So as a result, the people already understand what the person on the phone is dealing with. We are extremely passionate, and we don't use the word passionate just because everybody else uses it. You got to really understand where people are coming from, Lydia. And so when that family calls and say, my child is not saying these words clearly, he stutters a lot, or he doesn't seem to know how to put the food into his mouth correctly, all it spills on his clothing. What is going on? Should I be concerned? Yes. Always be concerned about your child. Always be concerned about your child. Get them an evaluation. Talk to your pediatrician and follow the advice of your pediatrician. Call Big Apple Children's Services, and we will help your child be developmentally free. They'll be on the same track, and they will be successful. They'll make you proud, and you'll make them proud.
Well, Ricardo, thank you so much. We're out of time, but it's been amazing. I definitely want to have you back because I need to have a follow-up with you and get more information on this, so we'll definitely be having you back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.